A couple months ago, I got a call from a landowner. She was up in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada, and she had bought a vacant lot up in the mountains there in Central California. And she called me. She was trying to get a price for a boundary and a topographic survey. She went down to get a building permit to build her house, and they said, "Hey, you need to get a survey." So I did a quick review of the land records for a parcel and realized she didn't have one parcel. She actually had two. The property line kind of went right through what she thought was her one lot. And so I called her back and I gave her a quick price estimate to do a boundary survey and a topographic survey and prepare a site plan. And I told her, "Hey, just so you know, based on my initial review of your land records, you have two parcels, not one." I said, "You're going to need a site plan." So I gave you a price for a site plan. And I said, at some point, when the county realizes that you have two parcels and not one, they're going to either make you do a lot line adjustment or a lot merger. They're not going to let you put a new house and garage across the property line. Jurisdictions in California don't typically let you do that. So I said, there's going to potentially be some more work here. Even though you don't realize it yet, there's going to be a lot line adjustment or a lot merger. And I can't remember what our fee was. It was I gave her a good price. We were in the $10,000 to $15,000 range, I think. But I told her, I said, "Hey, that's just to do the boundary survey and the topo survey and prepare the site plan. It doesn't include a lot line adjustment or a lot merger. That would be extra after we find out, what the county's going to make us do and what kind of conditions they're going to be." So she told me, she said, "Wow, that's really expensive." She said, "I called another surveyor here locally, and that surveyor said he would do it for $4,000. I said, "Understand that. I'm never the cheapest surveyor." I said, "That's a good price. If you think that guy's going to do a good job, hire him for the $4,000. So she says, "Okay, I will." All right. So a few days later, she called me back. She said, "Hey, I'm curious if you can give me some more help." She says, "The surveyor I hired hasn't been able to answer some of my questions." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, did he tell you that you're going to need a site plan?" She said, "No, he didn't tell me I was going to need a site plan." I said, "All right. Did he tell you that you actually had owned two parcels, not one parcel?" She said, "No, he hasn't said anything about there being two parcels." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, what do you need?" She said, "Well, I want to know if you can explain to me and the surveyor I hired how you know that there was two parcels, and what is that going to mean if I really have two parcels? What's that going to mean for the process?" And so I told her. I kind of laughed a little bit. I said, "I'm not going to do that." I said, "You decided to hire the $4,000 survey company." I said, "It's not very hard for a surveyor to figure out that you have two parcels." I said, "All he has to do is look at your deed." I said, "You need to get the guy you hired for $4,000 to answer these questions." I said, "If you wanted me to answer these questions, my price was $12,000, not $4,000. Right? So she said, "Okay, I understand why you feel that way." And she hung up. I never heard from her again, so I'm not quite sure what happened. But what does this teach us? What does this story teach us? You get what you pay for. You hire. Look, the surveyor that gave her the price for $4,000, he threw that number out on the phone without doing any research, asking any of the questions about what she was trying to accomplish. And so it wasn't a good price, right? She's going to end up paying what I was going to charge her, more than likely, by the time the job is done. Surveyors will give you a quick price without even looking at your land records, right? So be careful. You be careful about, if somebody's a third of my cost, there's a reason, and it might be because they haven't done their homework, right? So you need to think about that. And then, the other thing is, some people I can't help. Like, I can't help a landowner like that. She'd have called back and let me give her a bunch of free advice, right? Provide my expertise with no compensation. She's not running a charity. She's building a custom home in the mountains of the Sierra Nevada. Like, I don't owe her that free advice, right? I don't feel sympathy for somebody that's going to go out and hire the cheapest land surveyor they can find. Some clients and consultants deserve each other, right? That kind of client deserves that kind of surveyor, and they're both going to deal with the consequences of that decision, right? I don't want to work for clients like that, right? I want to work for clients that understand the value I bring and that respect me and that understand I'm trying to run a real business. And if you hire a low bid surveyor, you're gonna get what you pay for, right? So if you hire a $4,000 survey company, you need to make sure that $4,000 survey company answers your questions. Don't call back the company that gave you a realistic price and that actually did the homework and expect them to do the job of the surveyor that you hired for low bid.